Here we are in the constellation Andromeda.
For all its material advantages, the sedentary life has left us edgy, unfulfilled. Even after 400 generations in villages and cities, we haven't forgotten. The open road still softly calls, like a nearly forgotten song of childhood.
This is the AIO3 Andromeda. It is the enthusiast keyboard. Cream of the crop, no frills, just solid with understated design. Too bad it sounds mid, no jokes here. We built it once and it fell apart. Were we able to save it on the second try? Let's get into it. To tell the story, we have to set it with the price. This is AIO3, Keyboard Jesus. His Andromeda is the ultra high-end TKL. It sounds like I should scream that. Ultra high-end TKL! Ultra high-end TKL! This overview of the Andromeda was sponsored by Lumi. Yes, Brian's dog. It has the AIO3 design language, and it looks like the Vega, but it has sculpted sides. Look at that. Sexy. But that will add to the cost, which is a whopping $750 in group buy. $750.
And who you think you kidnapped, Chelsea Clinton?
And after the group buy finished, the extras were $990.
Damn!
That's how Brian got this one.
You don't even help with bills. You need to get a job. I come home every day crying. We're gonna lose the house. Where are the cats gonna go? For real.
I swear, they took off $10 just because $990 looked better than $1,000 for a keyboard. Retail. Extras, but still retail. I had to put the keyboard down. It's messing with my wrist. It's heavy as hell. To be fair, AIO3 did warn us. AIO3 makes great keyboards. The Polaris and Vega are among my favorites. You've seen the sound test, but this was no longer in the budget category. It uses the same hidden screw design, but just pushed to the extremes. No fancy colors, no crazy layouts, just silver and gray. And this is the gray unit. To be honest with you, lusting over the curves of the sides is a very nerdy, enthusiast thing to do in custom keyboards. I get it, but I personally don't look that much into it. But it does look pretty good. But it is an angle that you don't see when typing on it. It looks great, has cool design language, built like a tank, very heavy in quality, but what's wrong? The sound. Let's just start with our original experiment. My mod Brian thought it'd be a great idea to make a custom plate. Palm plate, available plate files, so he sent out to P3D. He asked the plate maker to account for the thickness of Gateron inks. If you know, cherry spec is kind of what the standard is. Gateron inks and even Popus and Opus Blacks are a little bit thicker than regular cherry switches. So with the plates, you kind of have to widen them a bit, adjust the kerning so that these bigger switches can snap into place. It only matters specifically if you know you're going to use those switches, because if you start messing with it, maybe other switches won't work well. This is why I trust Pigeons Like Bread. Unfortunately, he's not making plates right now. PLB knows how to make sure the inks fit, so I get palm plates from him all the time. But these plates from P3D, they were not the right size. The holes ended up being smaller than spec. If we looked at the aluminum plate, it's 13.9 millimeters from AIO3, and when we measured the palm plate from P3D, it was 13.7 to 13.8 millimeters. So big fat Popus switch into a small hole. You can kind of push it in, but sooner or later, the switch will just push itself out. And when the switch is not in the plate, it's gonna sound like crap. Probably feel like crap too. Basically, instead of doing what Brian specifically requested, they did the opposite. Satch. So we built it with the palm plate anyway, because he had already committed to it. He had already paid for it, and some of the switches didn't really snap in all the way. It already sounded a bit off in the original build stream. Popus on Palm should sound different. He just wanted to be different because everyone and their mother is doing MX blacks on aluminum for every single keyboard, especially an enthusiast keyboard like this. We went with it, we ran with it. I sent the board back to him and let him use it for a while. Somehow, somewhere, the plate completely slipped down in multiple places, so that concern about the plate holes, it was warranted. Then it sounded like complete garbage because somehow, maybe it's my fault, the screws weren't even in all the way by the time it got here, and everything was just loosey-goosey and it sounded, ugh. Listen here. So this is the cost is no option endgame TKL keyboard that everyone fawned over. I then had him send it back. There's no way I'm gonna let him suffer with his board. He gave up on the palm plate and we rebuilt with the aluminum plate. They all snapped in because they were the right size. It all sounded great, relatively. Now that we can step back from our palm plate fiasco, we can accurately look at the sound and feel of the keyboard. The feel is normal. Nothing crazy, nothing too flexible, nothing too stiff. It is a metal plate, gasket mount, no flex cuts. Feels pretty decent. The sound, man, if you just listen to the alpha, it's fine. Alphas sound great. Now, when you listen to the spacebar, For a cost is no option endgame TKL that sacrifice all the fun color options and design elements to focus on the keyboard being a good TKL keyboard, I don't think the spacebar is that good. I would not be happy if I had spent $750 on this. I would cry if I had spent $990 on this. I would immediately eat it. I just don't have that kind of dough. Sorry, AL3. I loved your Polaris, love the Vega, but the Andromeda is not the product for me. All right, Lumi, the dog owner of this keyboard, sponsors this video. Lumi is the goodest girl. My channel is obviously a paid platform to showcase the beauty of this dog in all of her glory. My reviews are dishonest and I will spend time speaking praises whoever pays the most, like Lumi, who gets to enjoy this keyboard. Oh yeah, the Andromeda is the best keyboard ever I've ever had, ever seen, ever typed on. All jokes. Thanks to Brian and Lumi for sponsoring this video and giving me a chance to try out the keyboard I personally could not justify purchasing. It's a great looking keyboard and it's honestly usable if you have a keyboard display. Jokes aside, in this hobby, not everything has to be the best sounding keyboard, best feeling keyboard, and best looking keyboard. Not everything has to be 1v1. What's this versus this? What's the best this? What's the best that? You have your preferences. Some people don't care. Like, there's tons of people that love the Vertex Ingle. But to really drive that home, we did 1v1 this against the Tiger 80 Lite with MX Blacks. It's kind of sad when the Tiger 80 Lite looks like a freaking toy. Sorry, Brian and Luby. Everyone, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.